Hello everyone. So this will be our first video for our channel today. Um, it'll be our first ever. So this will just be a little intro into who I am and what I've done and why I want to share my drawing knowledge with you guys. Firstly, I am not a teacher by any means. I am just someone who has quite a bit of knowledge about CAD software, and I would like to share this with everybody, and hopefully you will all gain some value from my videos, and hopefully you will like, subscribe and follow my channel moving forward. So to start with, I have opened a few items that I have designed, nothing major, just to give you guys an idea of the type of designing I do most of the time. I have done more intricate designs, I have done simpler designs, I have done assemblies, machine assemblies, laser cutting parts, bending parts, machining parts. I have done designs to build machines. I have done motorcycle parts. I have done car parts. I have done machine parts. I have done car accessories, gym equipment. So the amount of things that I have done in my 10 years or 12 years that I've been doing drafting and working in fabrication and manufacturing is quite extensive, and so hopefully I can share that knowledge with you guys, and moving forward a lot of you will learn some skills that you would normally need to pay a lot of money to acquire, and hopefully you guys can gain some value from my channel. So we can just go through a few of the items that I have designed before. So as you can see, that is actually a fuel pump protector for a pickup truck called the P series that I designed myself for one of my customers. Nothing major, but it does prevent damage. So mostly sheet metal parts. I would say I specialize more in sheet metal than anything else. Can do labels, we can do a few odds and sods. So yeah, so let's maybe get started. I'm gonna just close this, and then we can maybe start running through just the basic keys of Creo, and hopefully you guys can move forward from here a little bit on your own. So obviously you would have your file, which is got your new function, so that's if you need a new part. So once you select that menu, then you have your sketch, your part, your assembly, your manufacturing, your drawing, your formats, reports, diagrams, layouts, markups, and then each one of those has a sub menu of its own. As you can see, the parts have solid, composite, sheet metal, bulk. You can switch between those in once you have opened the model and created the model, while you follow some guidelines obviously, but you can switch between those quite easily. I'm not going to delve into that right now, but I will do a video about that later. Then your next one is obviously open, so that would be to open an existing drawing or something someone has sent you previously. This will just open the menu. So as you can see, this is my general folder that I use. Then your next one would be set working directory. So that would be where you would select the folder as a working directory, so you would select that and then say OK, and then everything you work on or save or create would be in that folder. Then the next one would be obviously save. Once you've created something, it would just save it to that folder. It's normal. As you can see, the normal save, create the name, say OK, the usual. Then your next one would be backup. So that is, in layman's terms, that's actually just an easier way to save something. So you can save copy. Okay, we'll go into this deeper later, but save, copy, and backup is very similar, but they have different traits each. Rename is obviously if you want to change the name of the part without interfering with your family tables and your assemblies. Security, DRM, session reports, apply DRM. So those are all where you can add passwords and so on. Erase. So this is if you have parts with the same names in multiple folders and you want to move to the next folder, you need to erase these files off of your system before you can move forward. Again, I'm not going to go too much into that, but that's your erase. Delete, that's to delete files, so older versions, new versions, all versions. Instance operation, associate topology bus. Okay, I'm not going to go into all these others. We'll do those in the next couple of videos. This will be a series. So this will be the intro, and then we will be doing part 1, part 2, and so on until we get through all of these functions. So then your next one would be edit. Obviously undo. I'm not going to explain this. It will just go back one step to what you did previously. Redo would redo that same step again, but you cannot undo and redo again. Okay, maybe let's not go through all these menus at the same time. I'm rather going to start by explaining the starting. So what I would do is, once I've opened my Creo and I'm in my new file here, as you can see, I would erase not displayed, empty my memory. Cool. If you've just opened it, there will be nothing in there, so that's not a problem. So what I would do is click open. This is my methodology. Open, right click, new folder, say part 1, say okay, there's your new folder, that's part 1. So open, documents, part 1, set working directory, sorry, and then open, and then now your directory is saved. So then I would say cancel. Then I would move to my next step. So you need to know, okay, you also need to know your functions, these functions right here. Okay, your datum plans, these, okay, sorry. So I'm just going to say, just for the purpose of showing you the functions, I'm going to say new part. There's my part 01. I'm not going to actually create a part now, so I'm not going to give it a name. I just want to open it so that I can show you the actual functions of those keys at the top. So we go open, okay, cool. Now we're actually in our part mode, if you want to call it that. So then these keys right here are just your, let's call them your assistance tabs. So your datum plans, that just turns your datum plans on and off. That's obviously if you want to do a sketch, that would be where you would be doing your sketch. So we turn that off again. Axis, okay, we don't have any axes on at the moment, but if I had to put some in, so if I had to put an axis in here right now, so oh, sorry guys, my mouse seems to be malfunctioning a little bit. Okay, let's do that. There we go, that's that one, and then this one I can just put on this one. Okay, so we are going to that one and that one. So this is a little bit more complicated. I made it look more complicated than it is. Okay, so there's your, that'll be your axis 1, so A1, so you can turn it off if you don't want to, like that. Okay, and then you've got points. So if you create any points anywhere on your system, depending where you put them, doesn't really matter right now, but once you've got your points, those will turn the points on and off. So if I put that on and I turn the datums off, ta-da, or the axis, and so on and so forth. These will just be your notes, and that is just your XYZ axis for display. So that will be that section. So those are those functions. So I think the easiest way to proceed with this is to actually just start doing something. So we're going to, I like to add put the planes on. Where are my planes now? Okay, zoom extent, there we go. Okay, so planes on, sketch function, select my plane. So okay, sorry, to draw a sketch you want to select sketch, correct. Then you need to select the datum plate where you would like to draw your drawings. So this would be obviously your ideal for top, then it's your top view. So then you click sketch and it will automatically turn it to where you need it. So let's say I want to do a cube. I'm going to go rectangle. Actually first, the best way actually is to put in your center lines first to keep everything symmetrical. So all I do is I click on line function, I select my center line function, and as you saw I did, I click in the center and I draw them where I want them, and I can put them anywhere, any angle I really want, but for this purpose we just want them square, vertical and horizontal. Okay, so once we've done our center lines, select rectangle, and Creo works slightly different to AutoCAD or any of those drafting programs, as in AutoCAD you would draw your line, but before you click again you would put your length or your dimension in and then hit enter in the angle that it is, and that'll give you the actual line. So with Creo it works slightly different. You're actually going to draw your sketch first depending on what shape you want. So I like to do mine symmetrical because moving forward it will assist you in mirrors and all the other functions that the program has. It's always better when the things are symmetrical. Sometimes it's not possible depending on the part, but I do try and do it as much as possible because I have found it limits issues in the future. So I will draw my block until it moves symmetrical there on my horizontal plane and symmetrical on my vertical. As you can see, when I move symmetrical, the little arrows there pop up, and once it's all symmetrical the way I want it, I click again. Then now I have my square. Okay, so now I go back to my select function, or you can push escape. Those are both possible. Now I've got dimensions. Okay, but now say I don't want it 304 millimeters or inches, depending how you want it. Say I want it 100 by 50. Okay, so all I do is hover above it or over it till it highlights itself, I double click and it gives me the dimension. So now I type in my dimension and I push enter and it will change the shape. But now I want to do the same with the other side because I want this side to be 50 because I said 76 by 50. And voila, there is my rectangle. Okay, so now once you've got this rectangle, obviously I need to create a tube because we want to do a tube or a block. Obviously that's why you're doing your sketch. You would either be doing a sketch to do an extrusion of forming a shape, or you would be doing an extrusion to cut something out. So once I've done my sketch, well, I suppose there's many functions of a sketch. You can do sweeps, you can do a whole bunch of things, which we'll work through step by step in each video. So from here I would say okay, meaning my sketch is fine, so done. I am done with my sketch. Then I click OK. Then as you can see, now on my datum plane there it is red, but if I click here it will go blue. So that is the sketch, that is highlighted, that is normal. So before I move to my extrude, I can select it, and when I hit my extrude function on the top right here, as you can see that function there is the extrude. If I click on that now, it will automatically extrude, correct? But if I do this and I click extrude, it will not give me the block because I did not select which sketch I want. But now I can select the sketch, so I can either hover above this one and click on it and it will do what I wanted to do, and voila. Or if that is not the way I want to do it, all I do is I click on extrude, okay, I click on sketch here in my model tree on the left, click on sketch, and it will do the same thing. This is just there so that if you have multiple sketches and you are struggling to select the sketch, then you can go on your model tree and select sketch. You can also rename your sketches, so you can call it block A, or you can rename it whatever you want. And I'll show you. If you right click on there, then sorry, not right click, left click on there, then you can call it block 1 for instance, and then it will be block 1. So next time you go there, you don't have to click on it to see which sketch it is. You can just look, block 1, okay, cool, that's the one I want. Okay, now in your extrude function, okay, you have your length of your block, which is this one. So I can either pull and push it, or I can type the dimension in here and hit enter and it will change. I can make it symmetrical, or I can make it to a blind. So blind, I call it blind, but it's to another surface. So in the videos moving forward, you'll see if we do an extrusion from on say a tube from the one side to the other side, or any assembly or any part where you have a limit where you need that thing to go to, it makes your life a lot simpler. Instead of now dragging it, measuring it, trying to get it to the same surface as other parts, you click on the blind function and you click on that surface and it will line it up on the same level. So this just makes your life a little bit easier. So I like to use the symmetrical one because, like I've said before, it keeps the drawing symmetrical. And if you do other functions where you're using the datum planes to mirror or copy or pattern or anything in that line, it makes it a little bit easier. Symmetrical is always better, then you don't have to calculate offsets and so on. So I use symmetrical, so that's symmetrical. Then your other functions that you've got, because if I now say okay, which is this little green tick right here, if I click on here and I say okay, I'm happy with the size of my block, and I'm happy with the symmetrical, and I'm happy with that it is a solid and not a surface. I will show you the surface in 2 seconds. So if I'm happy that it is a solid, okay, and I click okay, this is what it will look like. It will be a solid block. So this would be the start of a machining part, basically, if that is where you're heading. So now, if that is not what I want to do, if I wanted to make a tube instead, I would go on my extrude, I would right click, I would say edit definition, as you can see there. So I click the part that I want, so meaning which extrusion. I need to click on the correct extrusion, right click, edit definition, then it will take me right back to this menu again. So once we're back in this menu and you have now decided, okay, I do not want a solid, I want a surface. Okay, I will show you the difference right now. So once you've selected surface, I very seldomly use this function. I'm not saying it's not useful, but it's just not something I have used often in my line of work. But I'm sure it has its place in its function. So then again, I'll say, okay, I'm happy because now I wanted the surface. Okay, cool. Now you'll see it is actually a thin tube-like entity, but that is not what I want. I want to create a tube. So what do? I go back to my extrude function and I right click and I say edit definition, and I go back into this function. Now to make a tube you cannot use surface, you have to use solid. Okay, so you have to be on solid function firstly, and then what we are going to do is we are going to give it a thickness. Okay, so say I am doing a drawing of a 76 by 50 rect tube with a 2mm thickness. I put in 2mm and I hit enter. Now one of the other functions that we need to look at, okay, let me just show you the tube quickly. So there's your tube. So as you can see, it's a lot thicker than the other previous one that we were using. So that would now be your tube. Then you need to add your radiuses and so on and so forth if you need accurate drawings. If you are only doing this to calculate something else, then you don't need to add all the fancy rounds and surfaces and. So if I'm just doing a quick mock-up to calculate a length or something like that, I would just draw it like this and just extrude it the way I want it and cut it the way I want it, and then from there I can give it to the manufacturing guys and they would cut it accordingly. I don't need to go into heavy detail if it's only for cut sizes and so on. If you are working with a tube laser or an engineering company or anything that requires more details, then yes, you would have to add in the radiuses of the tubing, or the little smaller details of the tube if you are doing a tube for them. But we will work to that in the next videos. So now I want to go back to my extrude. I want to say edit definition. Now if we go to this view, I just want to show you guys something. Okay, so sorry, I'm just going to use this just to make it better. Oh no, not that one. Okay, so it's just easier for you guys to see what I'm going to tell you. So now I've got my thickness of my tube, 2mm. Okay, But now in some instances you work with an inside dimension of the tube. Usually I think in the plumbing line or in the piping industry there's a lot of sizes that work on the inside sizes and not the outside sizes like we do in our steel fabrication department. And it's simple, so you would still do your sketch the sizes that you require, and all you would do is you would change your direction of your thickness. So if I click here, it would kick it to the outside, as you can see. And then it's simple, so you still do your sketch then on your inside sizes, and you just add your thickness and this will do the rest. So as simple as that is. I want it on the inside, so I click it. Well, there it's in the center, so you can go center, inside, outside, but I want it on the inside, so inside it is. And that is as simple as that. So just a side note, instead of me going to the arrow, the tick, sorry, not the arrow, the tick, so instead of me going to the tick, I'm just pushing down on the ball of my mouse, the center ball in between the two buttons on top, my roller, the one that I use to zoom in and out. If I hit that and I push enter on that, it will also say I am happy with my model at that point. Okay, so I think for today we are going to stop here. This is only supposed to be an intro anyway. Excuse me, I've got a little bit of flu, so I do apologize. So in my next video, which will be part of a whole series we're going to do, I will continue with this. So I've started with this, I will restart this again in the next video, and then from there I will show you how to save, how to do cutouts, how to do rounds, how to do a few other odds and ends. And yes, by the time you work through this series, you should be able to operate Creo or Pro E to a level that you can do almost anything. I wouldn't say anything because there are small things that you only learn over time, but I'm going to try and share with you guys as much of my knowledge as I can, and hopefully it helps you all. So in that note, I'm going to close this, and again, if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe, and I will be posting the next one shortly, and I hope to get lots of comments from you guys. If there are any other questions or any suggestions of videos that you would like me to do in between our step-by-step guide, I will try and fit those in, and I will try and reply to your comments if you have questions. So please do comment if you want to, and I hope you guys have a great day and keep well.